But that's the shiny thing, right? Is like we're faced with the conversation of, is Onboard just an AI company now? And it's the same thing that everyone was faced with. And many people ran towards yes. And we ran towards, well, we have AI in the product, but we're not an AI company. We're back to the basics. We're an onboarding company. We help companies onboard their customers better.
What's up, lifers, and welcome to The Daily Stand-Up with Lifetime Value, where we're giving you fresh new customer success ideas every single day. I got my man JP with us. JP, do you want to say hi?
Hey, what's going on, y'all?
And we have Rob with us. Rob, can you say hi?
Hello from sunny Florida.
And we have Will with us. Will, can you say hi?
Hey, hey.
Hey, hey. And I am your host. My name is Dylan Young. Will, thank you so much for being here. Can you please introduce yourself?
Sure. Thanks so much for having me. Quick intro. Background is all early stage B2B SaaS. That's kind of what I've built a career on over the last 15 years or so. Most recent project has been onboard.io, which is a customer onboarding tool that many SaaS and service-based businesses use. Streamlines customer onboarding. So happy to be here. Happy to chat software and business.
A grizzled SaaS veteran. So you are uniquely positioned because we do one thing here, Will, and that is we ask every single guest, what is on your mind when it comes to customer success? So can you tell us what that is for you?
Sure. So to me, and it may even span beyond customer success. I think it does. There's a lot of things happening in the world right now, and there's a lot of noise going on LinkedIn, and everyone's an influencer and everyone has 6 easy steps to master this. So I think the thing that's hot on my mind, customer success related and general business related, are kind of the real things back to the basics of what works and what accelerates customer success and accelerates business.
All right. Well, we're a short form podcast here, Will. So I don't know how long your list is. Yeah. Maybe you want to reduce it to like the top 1 or 2. What would those be?
So the first thing that I think it's kind of like the secret hacks of business and what works and what doesn't. I think there's kind of 2 things that stand out to me and are more important to me than anything and have helped me along my journey. The first is focus. So long time ago, 15 years ago or so, I had a great CEO at a company called Loop who created a bunch of core values. One of them was focus on the few things that matter most. And I've really held that my entire career near and dear to my heart, right? So a part of it is sorting through the noise, which the noise is really the topic, right? When I get on LinkedIn, I can scroll for hours and read posts of top 10 things and 7 things and the reason why your customers are churning and this and that. And, there's a lot of noise. So part of it's just focus on the few things that matter most. So that's one. I'll stop there for now.
I think that might be enough. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, maybe you just need to be a repeat guest and bring up more, because I want to know an example of when you've been confronted with something and you thought it was something that was really important and it turned out to be one of those shiny objects that you didn't need to chase. And how did you train yourself to think that way and then to have the fortitude to kind of follow through?
Well, so I'm going to throw out a very large topic that's going to be very, very controversial. And I don't think it's all unnecessary, because much of it is very necessary. AI is like the most recent shiny topic, right? A few months ago, every company became an AI company overnight. And really our approach at Onboard has been AI is super great, like actual AI, right? Because many companies just say that AI and maybe not. But actual AI is great when applied to appropriate things. And right now, AI is certainly very good at some things and not great at other things. So focusing on the things that AI is really good at and building it into the product makes sense. But that's the shiny thing, right? Is like we're faced with the conversation of, is Onboard just an AI company now? And it's the same thing that everyone was faced with. And many people ran towards yes. And we ran towards, well, we have AI in the product, but we're not an AI company. We're back to the basics. We're an onboarding company. We help companies onboard their customers better.
Yes, you almost downplay it because you don't want to get caught up in that whirlwind.
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to get caught up in the look, again, everybody was super pumped about AI, and I think they still are, right? But many of us are like, when I go to a website and it's like, I'm looking for a subscription billing platform and it's like, we're AI subscription. And it's like, yeah, but are
You
you
don't need
like,
that. You don't need that.
I need to be able to send people invoices and receive payment,
And if I'm paying more for it because it's AI, then it's actually like a deterrent. Anyway,
Yeah.
JP, I want you to jump in here because so many of our conversations, you and me, philosophically, I know you think a lot about focus. Professionally, I think you think a lot about focus. So tell me what this makes you think of.
Yeah. First of all, don't scroll LinkedIn for hours.
Bad.
I know Will was just making a comment. I know he's not.
Don't do that.
Don't scroll
Yeah.
LinkedIn for hours. Let me tell you something. I scroll that thing for like 10 seconds. That's
Yeah.
the most I can make going through a feed, and then I'm out. It's like trying to like hold my breath under like some high pressure water.
10 seconds? That's all
Yeah,
you got?
I literally get to about 10 seconds and I'm like, I gotta go. Like, I can't do
Yeah.
it. And so, recognizing that, unfortunately, the nature of social media, it is not really like our friend.
Yeah.
Just inherently, it is also a tool. It is also something that has metrics that someone's trying to win on. It's not just a subjective sort of like place where you can go to hear everything. So I think recognizing that, like, so to use like a really stupid analogy, like, don't go to like a chessboard and try to play checkers. You have to understand like what is actually being had so you can make a more informed decision with what you're being presented with. And I think that that's a big part of focus, right? I get on LinkedIn, I know what I'm getting on there for, right? Like, I'm
Yeah.
saying, okay, I know I'm not going to do much scrolling. I'm going to promote the podcast that I'm on, right? Daily Stand-Up, great. Let's promote that. I don't care how many engagements that really gets, right? Like, I just want to make sure that gets out there. I want to promote maybe some other event that I'm in, right? So that's an example of the promotion focus, right? Like, that's what I'm leveraging the tool for. I think in terms of if I say, okay, like, I want to engage, now we're in a different level of focus. So I may say, okay, who or what do I want to engage with? Do I want to maybe engage with maybe a company's content, right?
Subscribe.
Like, they have a different level, sort of like a presentation and curation. Or do I want to engage maybe with someone in my current space or someone, So, like, I think that with more focus, ultimately we can save ourselves some of the, like, that just comes with all this stuff. It really helps us save on the back end. And then to just quickly segue to customer success, I mean, that's also what we want to be doing at work, right? We don't want to be chasing all these BTLs or BLTs like we was talking about the other day, right? We want to be chasing maybe more of the above the line, spending our time, investing our time in ways that are going to produce more of the result we want and not what we don't want, right? You got to train that algorithm, baby.
Well, and really quick, just one quick thing on that. If you think about it from a customer success or customer success management standpoint, you don't want your CSMs responding to password reset emails, right? You want them spending time focused on what matters most, building the client relationship, ensuring the client's actually seeing success, ensuring renewal, upgrades, expansion. And that's a whole nother topic, right? The CSM's own renewals and expansion and all of that. So we'll save that for another day.
I'm feeling inspired. And maybe this is just another word for the exact same thing you're talking about here, Will. Intentionality.
Yeah.
Being crystal clear on your intentions and your end goal. But Rob, why don't you jump in here and share what all this makes you think of?
Well, I actually really like where you just landed that, Will, because I think where a team focuses is one of the core problems we're having in customer success. We don't know where we focus as an industry. And, fortunately, there's a lot of exercises that you can do as a team to refine your focus, or I tend to call it refining your charter. And I've been working on some collateral around that to help teams with that. But I also think it was funny too. You mentioned how like every company became an AI company overnight. It was like, honestly, I remember that. It was like so funny, and it's still happening. But it makes me think of like when I got my start in SaaS, I worked with there were two CTOs of the company I worked at, and they both had degrees in AI from Stanford, which is like, so they've got the credentials to be very particular about what they consider AI. And we thought like our software was built on AI. We thought it was an AI platform. It was not. So when we would do onboarding calls, when we would do onboarding calls, my friend and I, we sat next to each other in this little room in San Francisco, and we would have a competition of when we would do like our product walkthrough, who could say machine learning and artificial intelligence more loudly. And so like we'd be like walking through, we're like, and here we have the contact section in our software, and this uses machine learning and artificial intelligence to deduplicate your contacts. And then our CTO walked by one day and he was like, we don't do that. What are you saying? Like, stop saying that. But anyway, I'll try to. I think focus applies in many layers. I think focus applies with how we build our businesses, and I think how we build our brands, being very focused on that. And then specifically with regard to the instance of being on LinkedIn, being focused on. I try to ask myself every day when I'm like doom scrolling LinkedIn, which I don't assume and hope most people do who listen to this show. I'm like, am I learning and am I building meaningful connections? If the answer to these are no, time to
Get out.
move on to something else.
Yeah. Look, I think the next question in the next segment, maybe not now, but is like LinkedIn really a place that people go to learn anymore?
Good
I
question.
don't know the answer.
It's got the long tail of this brand that people still think it is, but what has it actually turned into? And is it
It's a lot
still
of
doing what we all think?
It's a lot of posting and ghosting, like that's
Hey,
what I do, right? I post something on LinkedIn and jump off, and it's like, again, do I read some posts? Yeah, like it suggests posts for me, but are they always relevant? Not 20% of the time.
Will, that is our time. We're going to leave that there. Posting and ghosting. I love it. Come back soon. Tell us more about this list of hacks or tips you have, and tell us more about Onboard. But until that time, we have to say goodbye.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
You've been listening to the Daily Standup by Lifetime Value. Please note that the views expressed in these conversations are attributed only to those individuals on this recording and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of their respective employers. For all inquiries, please reach out via email to dylan@lifetimevaluemedia.com. Find us on YouTube @LifetimeValue and find us on the socials @LifetimeValueMedia. Until next time.